Welcome back to the channel with some breaking news coming to you from Israel. As you guys know, we reported last night the latest update on the hostages situation as Israel confirmed that Hamas from Gaza somehow decided to send a random corpse of a random woman pretending to be Shiri Bibas, the mother of the Bibas babies. Of course, that's already been reported, but now we have the reaction. Finally, the Israeli government have had their meetings, the cabinet, the IDF have already made their assessment. We have a statement from the Israeli Defense Forces, the actual video. We also have a video from the Prime Minister Netanyahu, who is not happy, of course, and has vowed to eliminate every single person who's part of the Islamists in Gaza. They are making a move now. Of course, there's also reports coming from what's happening towards the northern parts of the border, northeast with the Syrian border. There are some clashes there. And of course, in Judea and Samaria, around the West Bank area, the Israeli Defense Forces are also making a move over there at the same time. We're going to give you guys all the updates. Of course, if you're watching this live, we'll get your reaction in the live chat. If you're not watching this live, in the comment section in general. First, we have to go to Daniel Hagari, the spokesperson of the IDF, to see what the analysis actually confirmed, because obviously last night all we heard was the two babies, the kids. Obviously that's been confirmed, but they did say the initial report suggested that they had been murdered shortly after being kidnapped. So that was back in November 2023, so only weeks after when they were kidnapped. Obviously they don't know where Shiri is, the mother, but let's go to Hagari and see what the whole assessment is, and then we're going to talk about the reaction from the Prime Minister.
We can confirm that baby Kfir Bibas, aged just 10 months old, and his older brother Ariel, aged 4, were both brutally murdered by terrorists while being held hostage in Gaza, no later than November 2023. These two innocent children were taken hostage alive together with their mother Shiri from their home on October 7th, 2023. Contrary to Hamas's lies, Ariel and Kfir were not killed in an airstrike. Ariel and Kfir Bibas were murdered by terrorists in cold blood. The terrorists did not shoot the two young boys. They killed them with their bare hands. Afterwards, they committed horrific acts to cover up these atrocities. This assessment is based on both forensic findings from the identification process and intelligence that supports the findings. We have shared these findings, intelligence and forensics, with our partners around the world so they can verify it, and that the entire world will know exactly how the...
So that was the end of this clip. It's very important that he mentioned that they will be getting the international side as well to do the forensic, to be able to verify what Israel is saying, so that the liberal mainstream media around the world are not going to go around saying, well, Israel is just lying, this is their claim, because that's what they do all the time. Now, if you get obviously everybody else to verify it, and Israel have always been very good when it comes to cooperating with the others on an international level to prove this is what can be verified, and actually say, well, there's also a reaction from Hamas in Gaza, which is absolutely ludicrous, by the way. We're going to get to that in a second, because none of this makes any sense in terms of why they decided to do this. Apparently it was a mistake, according to the leadership in Gaza. Having said that, before we get to the Prime Minister, as Netanyahu is already making a move anyway, the IDF soldiers are already preparing from obviously the northern parts, the Syrian border, as well as Judea and Samaria and Gaza. But there has been more reaction. We had journalist Tamir Morak saying, if the full horrifying truth about the murders of Kfir and Ariel Bibas uncovered in the last 24 hours were laid bare for all to see, not a soul in this nation would dare back any deal that leaves Hamas in control. The IDF spokesman with good reason, held back, revealing only a fraction of the grim details. Now, we do now have confirmation that journalists in Israel have now received more intel on what actually happened to these babies, which is horrifying apparently. And we will wait for confirmation on that anyway, because obviously, as we said, it would have been absolutely grim to go into the details of exactly what they did to them at this time, obviously, considering obviously their father is still alive and he's also now worried about his wife, Shiri. But having said that, the reaction also we had from Hillel Bitton says, according to the security establishment's assessment, the horrific murder of the Bibas family children was committed approximately 10 days after the 7th of October. On a personal note, reading the details of their autopsies was one of the most difficult things I have experienced in a long time. Now, we will be able shortly to make an announcement on CTV, confirmation of it, but because we are actually planning to go back to Israel shortly, and there's going to be a whole range of things that we're going to be doing in Israel in terms of reporting, in terms of interviews and everything else, investigations, and hopefully a documentary on what's going on in the Middle East. So obviously I'll make the confirmation. We're still making the plans for now, but that won't be too long. So hopefully within the next few weeks you'll find out what we're planning to do when I go back to Israel and with the team. But everything goes back to what the Prime Minister is now going to be doing. So Netanyahu has already confirmed that he vows to eliminate every single one of them. So a lot of people would say, well, he's all talk, but he has also shown action. We have seen that. Hopefully this means that going forward, his government will not be naive enough to simply agree to random deals and agreements with a bunch of barbaric nutters. So let's go to the statement we have from Bibi and see what he had to say.
Today is a tragic day. It's a day of boundless sorrow, of indescribable pain. 4-year-old Ariel Bibas, his baby brother, 1-year-old Kfir, and 84-year-old Oded Lifshitz were brutally murdered by Hamas savages. Their bodies returned home to a nation in mourning, a nation that will never forget and never forgive the evil that cut down these beautiful souls. Since that black day on October 7th, when Hamas butchered and burned 1,200 of our families and friends, Israel waited with bated breath, hoping beyond hope that our hostages would survive the Hamas hell. Against all odds, we succeeded to bring many home. Some we rescued, some we tragically couldn't. The Bibas children in particular became the symbol of who we are and who we're fighting against. Here's a photo of the Bibas brothers. These perfect children, again, were 4 years old and less than 1 year old when the Hamas savages snatched them from their mother's arms. She fought like a lioness to protect her boys. Just imagine their horror. Imagine their confusion. Perfect little children who never hurt a soul. A baby, for the love of God. They languished in captivity until Hamas murdered them in cold blood. Who kidnaps a little boy and a baby and murders them? Monsters, that's who. These Hamas monsters also cynically refused to bring back the boy's mother, Shiri, and sent the body of a Gazan woman instead, in brazen violation of the agreement. Today, the heavens shake. The entire civilized world should condemn these horrific murders. The entire civilized world should join Israel in demanding the immediate release of all the hostages. All of Israel is united in grief. And as the Prime Minister of Israel, I vow that I will not rest until the savages who executed our hostages are brought to justice. They do not deserve to walk this earth. Nothing will stop me. Nothing. Ariel, Kfir, and Oded, I'm so sorry we couldn't save you from the monsters who did this. We honor your kind and loving souls, so tragically cut down by evil terror. May your memories forever be a blessing and a reminder to all of us that we must fight this evil and eradicate it from the face of this earth.
It's interesting how the actions coming from Gaza is actually putting more pressure on Netanyahu's cabinet than even anybody else, really. They don't make it easy for themselves, the Palestinian side. So you've always had, obviously, people on a more conservative side and nationalist side in Israel saying, be more robust, do this, do that. A lot of people, including myself, saying, come on, get on with it. In fact, by doing this sort of nonsense more, the Palestinian side, they're just making it easier now for the pressure to go on to the IDF to actually finish the job. There's no other excuse. You cannot use any other excuses. So, as we said, we've already seen, this is the footage, image from the Prime Minister now in Tolkarm, in, of course, the Judean Samaria area. That's basically the West Bank, northern parts of it. Today, he and the IDF essentially went to the terror cell to try to basically make more investigation and, of course, do a massive crackdown on the whole area in general. There are also clashes by the Syrian border, also Syria and Lebanon, as well as Syria and Israel. The terrorists, the proxies are there as well. The IDF are also preparing for the eventuality, which is the cleanup of Gaza. Meanwhile, there has been a reaction and response from the Islamists in Gaza, which is absolutely, I think, laughable. It's ludicrous. I don't know how to respond to this. They are now demanding that Israel return the corpse that they falsely claimed was Shiri Bibas. So they gave a random person's body, right? Then now they're saying, oh, whoopsie, we made a mistake. Actually, they haven't even said fully we made a mistake. They said, oh, can we get the corpse back? And then we'll see if we made a mistake. What does that even mean? Right now, you've either made a mistake, unlikely, or you're doing it on purpose. You're demanding for the corpse. It's basically a random Palestinian woman that just gave away, and thinking that, what, you can buy some time? What was the thinking behind this? I mean, if it's just mind games, then it's not really that smart, because it's basically a suicide mission, because now Israelis are angry. What was the actual end game? We do know that a lot of people who've been running that area in Gaza are psychotic. And it's not just about the official soldiers. I'm not talking about those who wear the uniform of Hamas. The so-called civilians. Psychotic. For example, this woman, who is their so-called mother, yesterday, we have the video with subtitles, decided to basically celebrate and be more, championing the cause, right? Watch this.
ليش يا حجي ايش يمه وين جاي تعمل يا حجي الله ينصرهم الله معاهم الله يحميكم فلسطين كلها ما يمه الله معهم يا خالة ترجع البلاد لازم ترجع البلاد بحدود احنا نايمين في إلنا حماه ترجعش الوطن غير بالمقاومة لازم نرحب الاحتلال مش ننام والنصر يجينا لحدنا حجاه جيش الاحتلال دخل بجنوده احياء اليوم بيطلع منهم في توابيت نصر يا خاله انت شو مسوي خاله منتصرين الشباب حفظت قران الله حفظت كتاب الله لا اله اخلاق واحترام مش جاي اخذ صوره يا حبيبي يلا يا اختي سفر البنات
That is the face of evil, a monster. She's a mother. She has probably 35 children because they don't believe in condoms in Gaza. Now, one thing to mention, people like her are not official soldiers. They're not part of the Hamas government. They are the civilians who, just before the ceasefire deal started, last week, a couple of weeks ago, they were going around saying, we are the victims, underdogs. Why are these mean Jews doing this to us? So mean. Now they have the ceasefire, the uniforms are back out, and this mother comes out and says, victorious, victory, we are winning. Winning, are you winning? Winning what exactly? because of the dead bodies, the babies. She's winning. She said we have two options. Either sit back or do resistance. No, you had the third option since 1948. You had many, many options for your so-called two-state solution. You never wanted it because you don't want. Your priority is not a state of Palestine. Your priority is to wipe out the Jews. They've said no to having their own state many times. They don't care about that. They were sent there by the Ottoman Empire and the British Empire from other parts of North Africa and anywhere other places. They're not even Arabs from the Arab world. There's a reason the Arab world don't care about what's going on. They don't want them there. This brainwashing has been going on for a very, very long time. And it's not really just about the elderly, the younger ones. This girl, this video also came out yesterday because they were all out celebrating while the coffins were there, right? Dancing around, singing. Her birthday, basically, it's a video with subtitles again. I'm going to show you what it is. She goes to one of the Hamas soldiers, whatever you want to call them, terrorists. She did this, subtitles.
شوف تاريخ ميلادي 7 أكتوبر ما شاء الله خليتوا لي إياه ذكرى كتير حلوة شكرا كتير شو أغرب لعبة شفتوا أطفالكم بيلعبوا فيها؟ أكيد مش أغرب من ألعاب أطفال غزة مجاهدو المستقبل إذا هيك ألعابهم كيف هم؟
That smile is psychotic. No normal human being would be able to talk about these sort of grim things, basically being martyred or doing terrorism or resistance with that smile. It's evil. It's not normal. You've got psychological issues. It goes back generations. This is the sort of person, that girl, that when the ceasefire stuff ends, when the IDF go back in, she's going to cry on camera. She's going to say, oh no, they've come for us. They've come for our home, our land. Now she's happy. She's saying, wow, victory, we are winning. They're winning everything now, right now. Everything perfect. She's going around talking to the terrorists, saying, yes, we love you guys. Thank you for everything you've been doing for Gaza. The next day, if she gets arrested or if she comes to the West as a so-called refugee, she would say, no, I'm not Hamas. I'm just a Palestinian civilian. Look at me. I'm so nice. I'm just a civilian. I'm not into the conflict. And that's how we let them in. They keep coming. Protect your countries. Protect your nations. And that includes the Jewish nation. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, let's get some reaction in the live chat. Civil Defense UK says, Mr. Tusi, I cannot write on here my hate of Hamas. Rest in peace, Bibas family. Your husband and father will miss you dearly. The uncertainty that we still don't know what's happened to Shira doesn't really help. Obviously, there's a lot of speculations, but there's no point at this point. ASA says, this is truly an example of Mo was doing during his reign, and we see played out all over the world by the Islamic death cult. Now it's okay because they're the victims. They're the good ones because, you know, it's very peaceful. So peaceful. Extremely. Kenny says, it seems to me that the whole of Gaza are Islamists. Well, the majority, yeah. Thank you, Paul. And Kevin says, Starmer will let them all come to the UK. By the way, for the record, for those who are worried about what's going on in the Western world, in case you haven't heard, Australia, the rate of acceptance and approval when it comes to asylum seekers from who call themselves Palestinian is here. So Canada, UK, France, still bad. They're up. The US is still the best one. It's the lowest. Australia is up here. Not sure what they're doing over there, but the socialists in charge have no respect for the Australians, their land, and their culture. Things are going to kick off. Vinny says, I'm struggling to stay calm. Baby, sort it out. Well, I hope he means it. So obviously they're preparing. So we'll see the reaction shortly. We've seen the innocent Palestinians kidnapping that woman and her babies. There are no innocent Gazans. They all left longer. They also have been murdered. So we have seen videos from a while ago. Anybody who was in Gaza fighting against Hamas, they've all been eliminated by Hamas, by the way. Starmer's wife is Jewish. Why do you think she left him? She not publicly. You don't have to answer on a postcard. There hasn't been any public announcement, by the way, for the record. Media hat. Tezbot says, such beautiful looking people often betraying their ugly hearts. So sad. Let's get some non-super chats as well. It's just me saying, blessings from South Africa. Hello, South Africa. Our support and prayers are with Israel. God bless and protect Israel. Thank you very much. Happy One says, and now let's see what the mainstream media has to say. So again, this goes back to what we were reporting earlier. When the IDF spokesperson, Daniel Hagari, says, this is our findings, they're not even able to give you guys the full details of what's actually happened. The journalists have already been told anyway in Israel. We're going to get some of the details on 2CTV shortly. But the IDF have already said, we are going to give the evidence to the international community, forensic evidence. They could verify it. Because right now, going back to this comment, the mainstream media, right now the reporting is Israel claims, the IDF claims. Whereas when Gaza says something, they say Gaza confirmed. The health ministry in Gaza confirmed. There's a difference. When they talk about Gaza, they say confirmed. When they talk about Israel, they say claim. That happens all the time. Whether you watch CNN or BBC, all the other channels, that is similar. So this is the whole point of the Israeli side trying to say, look at the evidence, you idiots, and see what they will say afterwards. Leslie says, I support Israel. I don't blame them. Islam shall never win. I pray for Israel. Keep safe, Tusi. Thank you, Leslie. And Anne Williams says, I bet this poor woman, Shiri, was made to watch this. Oh yeah, the kids. What the hell is our government doing to our country? He needs to be held for treason by breaking our English constitution. That's about Keir Starmer. Another comment says, they have her body, but it is horribly violated and they don't want a post-mortem. The thing is, because even if that's the case, and it's likely that's the case, I agree with Facehugger 3, what they decided, hypothetically, if that's happened, what they've decided to do instead, which is to basically stall and delay the inevitable by sending out a wrong corpse, and now demanding the corpse to return, by the way, that's the other thing. They've already made things heated. So everybody is already furious. So there is no difference in terms of the reaction coming from the Israelis, whether you had given the actual body, as this person says, probably horribly violated, or what you've done, which is a wrong body, and now you're not going to say where it is. Both are giving you the same outcome in Gaza. Because actually the second one, what they've done now, is worse for Gaza, for Hamas, because it's uncertainty. People don't like uncertainty. It creates anger. Vacuum is created. Let's see what happens, but it's not going to end well for the leadership in Gaza. Thank you for another super chat saying Bibas with love hearts. And the first evil 100 says, Maya, as the brave hobbit once said in Lord of the Rings, but in the end it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come. And when the sun shines, it will shine out the clearer. Thank you for that. Let's hope that is... it's not really just about the happy ending, because this fight is just starting. This fight is a global fight against an ideology that's been poisoning initially one region, which expanded to parts of the world, which was rejected, for example, Portugal and Spain and other places, and now it's coming back in a very robust way. Nina says, oh my lovely, I'm so stressed. I stand by Israelis all the way. Thank you, Nina Varnava. And Hugo says, God bless Israel. Yes. Let's go back to some non-super chats. We've got Ali John for saying, you shall not pass. You shall not pass. That's what... I think the idea should just basically go in the main corridor in Gaza. Just stand in the middle saying, you shall not pass. Done. Go back. When Starmer is gone from the UK government, he will flee the country. I don't think he will, because he will try to escape justice in jail. No, of course, that's not going to happen. People said the same about every prime minister we've had. No, that's not going to happen. He's just going to resign. They're going to give him he already has a knighthood. They're going to give him peerage or something. And he's going to have security and a nice house. Going to live his life. He's going to go make speeches at the UN. Same thing will repeat, like all the other politicians from Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, and all the others. Now, we're talking the media. Someone said BBC equals blatantly biased coverage. It's a very academic insult. I love that. Now, I believe I missed... oh, there's a super sticker from Susie. Thank you very much, Susie, for that. Let me just quickly, while we're here, because we are still waiting for the instant reaction. As we said, there are activities in... the Judea and Samaria, the West Bank. There is an activity around the border with Syria as well. But I think we can soon confirm that the operation has started. We do know that against the Islamists, because this is actually, the Israelis are putting more pressure on Mahmoud Abbas, because Mahmoud Abbas has now come out on behalf of the Palestinian authorities to say, hey, we've always said we want to take over Gaza. He's now gaslighting the global population. Mahmoud Abbas is saying, yes, we want Gaza now as part of the two-state solution. Literally 6 months ago, the same Mr. Potato Head was saying, no, we're not going to take any responsibility when it comes to Gaza. Oh, now he's changed his tune. Why? Because President Trump has come out with a plan for Gaza. Now Mahmoud Abbas is saying, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I always wanted Gaza. Okay. So that's why you have to clean up the mess and the terrorist cells in the West Bank before you even start any sort of negotiations with Potato Head. Now, the Egyptians, by the way, the Egyptians and the Qataris are still maneuvering in the Gaza Strip with no permission, by the way. They just came in randomly, right? Because they said we got the permission from Hamas, which I'm not really sure what authority they use for that, but they're trying to clean up Gaza because they're absolutely terrified of what will happen if President Trump actually gives a green light to fully take over Gaza. Karen says, I don't understand how our government can allow Palestinians to protest on our streets, especially now. After this horrific news of these children, it's evil. So, obviously, actual protest, it's a free society. You should be allowed to do it. But what we've seen from these guys in London, in Toronto, New York, and other places is not democratic protests. These are hate marches. They are inciting violence, and not just against the Jews, but as in against those in Israel, but everybody else around the world. Because they don't just say intifada, they say globalized intifada, wiping out everybody, right? They're also talking about from the river to the sea, and all the other things that they say. The whole thing is literally a march to incite violence. It's not a democratic protest. So Karen is right. They should be banned, but not because they're a protest, because protests should be allowed. It's a free society. Should be banned because they're not protests. And they are getting more violent every day. Every week, it's getting worse and worse against the West. They are getting violent against the police in Canada, the police in Germany, in the Netherlands, and our people. And anybody who is, according to the Metropolitan Police in London, visibly Jewish. Yeah, you're not allowed to be visibly Jewish. Anyway, we will keep you guys posted on this because I think we are waiting to get more confirmation on the activities from the IDF over the next few hours. And as I said, we'll get some more information on what we're going to be doing. 2CTV will be going to Israel soon with a whole project. We're going to be there for a couple of weeks with the team, and we'll do some interviews and, of course, documentary and everything else. So, and that will be on 2CTV+. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Maya 2C, and we are the media.